For your grace is sufficient to keep us.
Hi there everyone, blessings to you all. I hope that your day has been a good one. I'm coming to you again with another video. I hope that it's going to be an interesting one. I'm just going to follow up on the topic that I picked up on in the last video, and that was about like power, and it was about the word, I think, dynamis, and I'm going to be also introducing the word dunamis alongside it, because you've heard that word before. Now, why would I use these words? Well, in the past, when I used to read my Bible, I read the words, and when I read the word, I would try to figure out what actually was the situation based on my understanding of the English that was being used at the time. And so that's how I came to understand the word. But I've realized that there is an art, which is the creative way of coming to an interpretation of the scripture. And then there is a process, which some people might say is a science, but I'm not talking biology or physics or chemistry. I'm just talking about a process of how to interpret the scripture. And so I think I found this method, but I don't want to use it in such a way that it causes any confusion. And as I've always said before, a little knowledge, is a dangerous thing. And I don't profess to be a speaker of Greek. Anyway, let's get to the point. One of the issues we may have is that, the word power in the Bible might be used in the same way at all times. And that is not the case. And hopefully I'm going to try and show you how it's not the case today. We spoke in the last video, or I spoke, I should say, in the last video, about the word dynamis, and how that word is, in a sense, connected to power, but it speaks about the miraculous power that should take place. And that word power was found around 20 times in the New Testament. Now, why is it important to count the amount of times that it's used? I think it's important to be able to find out how many times a word is used so that you can see how it is being used. And what we saw is that it was used 20 times, and it was related to miraculous power. And 1 Corinthians 12 points out that it's a part of a gift, whereas first chapter of Acts 1 and 8 shows that it was something which Jesus gave to his disciples and said, "You shall receive power." Well, in that word also is the word dunamis, and that word itself means power, but I want us to explore to understand that the meaning of that word actually speaks about the possession of a controlling influence, and that it's a manifestation of that influence in a supernatural way over nature. All right, it's a supernatural manifestation of dunamis power over nature and over the events that we would experience in the world. So I hope that that is clear. Okay, so to show you that the word dunamis is a word that speaks of the influence over reality in a supernatural way, I'm going to read some text to you so that you can see for yourself. And let's ask ourselves the question, how should we interpret the use of this word power? Should we interpret it as miracle in these verses that I'm going to use, or should we interpret it as the definition is possession of controlling influence, and as it is often understood as manifesting influence over reality in a supernatural way? All right, so I'm going to read some text to you to just point out the meaning. I'm going to see if I can give you a bigger view of the text. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so I'm going to try to give you the bigger meaning of the text here. So here's the one example for us to look at. In Matthew 24:30, it says, And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So what should we say here? Shall we say that the Son of Man is coming, in the clouds from heaven with power and glory? Are we to say that it is a miraculous work that he's going to do there? Or would it be a better way to interpret that text by showing that he's coming with the possession of an influence that is going to be supernatural, and it's going to have power over the reality of our world? Would that be a better fit? I think that is what it's saying. If you disagree, we'd love to hear your view on that. But at that point, the appearance of Christ coming in the air and coming back in great glory isn't saying that, he's doing a miracle at that time, but it is showing that he's coming with a supernatural power that is going to have an influence. And we know in the scripture that when Jesus Christ comes, that the knowledge of God and the glory of God shall be over the earth as the waters that cover the sea. And I only say that to show that the influence of the power that comes with Christ, who comes in glory, shall be far spreading over our world. But let's look at our next text. We've got Luke 1:17. It says, "And he shall go forth before him in the spirit and power of Elias." All right. To turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. Now, who is the scripture talking about? It's talking about John the Baptist. And the scripture is showing at the signs of his birth, who he is that John the Baptist shall go forth before Jesus in the spirit and the power of Elias. Now, let's just think about this for a minute. Elias is the Elijah of the scriptures, the Old Testament scriptures. And what we understand of Elijah is that he did miraculous works, and he raised up people from the dead, and he prayed that the heavens should be stood still. Let's ask ourselves the question, John is coming in that power, but did John perform any miracles that you know of? What miracle do you know of that John actually manifested? Can you tell me? Please share. I'm not sure if I can remember John performing any particular miracle as such, but he came in the spirit and power of Elias. So the word power here is not talking about miraculous wonder, but it is talking about the influence of the spirit that was with John, so that John would be able to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, and to make the hearts of the Jewish people ready for the appearance of their Messiah. I wonder if you get the point. I hope that you do get the point. Let's just look again. Luke 10:19. It says, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." What is the text saying here? Basically, it is showing that Jesus Christ has given to the disciples influence and power over the supernatural. He's given him supernatural power, I should say, over things which are demonic, things which are supernatural. Serpents and scorpions, we could say that they're the literal serpent, snakes, the literal insect, scorpion, but we can also look at those things as the powers of the enemy. And so Jesus has given the disciples influence and power over the enemy, to subdue the enemy. That's not necessarily a miracle, but it is the influence and the power and the supernatural ability to overcome these things. This is a part of the dynamis power that is a different usage of, dynamis compared to the miraculous power. Again, we see here in Acts 3:12, and when Peter saw it, he answered unto the people, Ye men of Israel, why marvel ye at this? Or why look ye so earnestly on us, as though by our own power or holiness we made this man to walk? Peter is truly declaring that it is not by their own power or influence that they were able to make the man walk. When he told the man to get up and take up his bed and walk, he is saying that it's not by his own power, it's not by his own ability to have influence over the supernatural that he was able to make this man walk. Now, the usage of power in terms of influence and supernatural ability over our reality is used about 80 odd times in the New Testament, and it is used also to refer to Acts 1:8 as dunamis and dynamis connected together. So what we have there is miraculous power given to the apostles, and we also have that the divine influence given to the apostles, in a supernatural way, is able to have an effect and impact over our natural reality. What do you think about what I'm saying here? Love to hear your responses. Let's share it in the group, and hopefully this will build our insight and our development and our understanding. God bless you. Until the next time, I'm coming to give some word and some guidance on the word Exousia. God bless you.
I come to the end of myself.